to get back on a normal course of corresponding, being able to pick up the phone and talk to one another if there's a crisis, being able to make sure our military still have contact with one another. We're not trying to decouple from China, but what we're trying to do is change the relationship for the better.
Okay, let's see. President Biden there yesterday outlining his goal ahead of today's high-stakes meeting with the president of China, Mr. Xi, in San Francisco this afternoon. Republican Senator Tom Cotton is a ranking member on the Senate Intel Committee, and he joins us right now. Good morning to you.
Morning. Good to be on with you.
It's good to have you, and it was great that you weighed in on the Smurf debate earlier. So, you know, one of the things Joe Biden was just talking about is the ability for our militaries to pick up the phone and say, hey, what are you doing over there? They stopped cooperating with us after Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan last year. That's a good thing, right?
Well, what Joe Biden has projected all year long, though, is this desire to have any small indication of progress, just the fact that they want to pick up the phone. I worry a little bit about what concessions he might grant, or just the way he framed this summit meeting is that we want to improve our relationship. We don't have a relationship with China. It's not like these are two teenagers dating. China is our #1 adversary in the world.
Sure.
And what we should be doing is focusing on ways that we can get the better of China to stop them from cheating on their trade deals or hacking into U.S. government computers or floating spy balloons over America, none of which I'm sure Joe Biden is going to raise with Xi Jinping today.
Well, you know, and so much of the legwork is done by the staff ahead of time. We've already heard that apparently they're going to put the kibosh on the components for fentanyl. They're going to stop shipping it to Mexico. So Joe Biden can say, look what I did, and then take away a Republican talking point.
Which is something China claims they don't do in the first place.
Right.
But obviously they do, and I'm very skeptical, again, about what Joe Biden may be giving away to get that in return, and that China will keep its promises. Remember, Xi Jinping promised Barack Obama he'd stop hacking into U.S. computers. They keep doing that. Xi Jinping promised that they wouldn't build islands in the South China Sea and arm them with missile systems, and they're doing that as well. So you cannot trust Chinese communists to keep their word.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about you. You have been working on a bill with Tim Kaine to study the effects of cell phones on kids in schools. Thank you. What will it do?
Well, I think the effects of cell phones in schools have been very detrimental. Most studies show that kids are distracted, that they're not focused on learning, that they're not focused on building friendships with each other. It's hard on teachers because they become the phone police. So
Sure.
In the studies I've seen, that if school phones are checked at the front door and kids don't get them until the end of the day or not even brought into school, it's back to a positive learning environment where kids can focus on studying, and then in between classes and at lunch they can focus on building solid friendships. Now, as a federal government, we shouldn't mandate that phones can't be in school, but
Right.
what we can do is provide funds for a pilot program that will help schools offset the costs of setting up, say, phone lockers at the front of the school.
Right.
And then that'll produce more cases that people can study. Hopefully that'll show the positive effects of taking cell phones off of campuses. So more schools across the country will take that step, and kids can get back to learning and making friends, not spending all day long texting and on social media.
I think that's a great idea, and looking at cat videos and stuff like that. but you know how kids are. There are going to be workarounds where, you know, some kid needs the phone for maybe it's his personal health or a safety issue. Next thing you know, some other kid sees that kid, and you got all the phones back.
In a handful of exceptional cases, you know, say if it's used as a hearing aid, for instance,
Right.
that's something that a school can take on a case-by-case basis. And a lot of schools do have their own devices, you know, to use, say, school-provided tablets that don't have the capability to text or do social media in the classroom.
Right.
But by and large, there's little reason for kids to have phones in classes. We all got by without them. Kids today can get by without them. Most kids will tell you once they're off the phones, it actually makes them feel better, too.
I'm a little older than you. When I was in school, I had a personal telegraph right there at my desk. All right, Senator, thank you very much.
Thank you.
A real pleasure.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.